And we are live.
Okay. Hey, everybody. We have some viewer mail I'd like to read. This is really a special one. And this reads, Dear Craig and Shane, love the show, but I was grieved in my heart to hear of Shane's recent illness. I have been holding Mass twice daily and praying fervently for a quick and speedy recovery. Now, more than ever, the world needs the Arcades Comics podcast. Bless you both. And then there's a bunch of Latin, which I don't know, but that comes to us from Pope Francis.
Nice.
So that was really nice. And I understand he's been ill recently, so I hope you're good too.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Pope Francis.
Thank you.
His Holiness.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Arcade Comics podcast. I am Craig Ray.
And I'm Shane. Sorry. It's I'm getting over a cold.
Yeah.
Or perhaps it was tuberculosis and a virulent strain of scabies. I don't know. But I'm here.
We haven't been
because
tested yet. Yeah.
It's more important for us to do this podcast than for me to be healthy. Like I don't do it for me, guys. All right, I don't.
For the masses.
For the masses,
Absolutely.
Like I told Craig, some people call me a hero. I don't say that, but I've heard it. So
Sure.
sorry.
So this episode's called Maximum Effort. We are going to put forth a maximum effort to get a podcast out this
Yeah,
week.
because we're doing this Monday afternoon. Because I did have to recover over the weekend, and we'd be remiss if we didn't get it out because we've got a big date coming up.
Yes. So, yeah, we'll touch on that, I guess, first, and then we'll probably circle back around to it later as well.
Yeah, we'll get the sad out of the way first. As everybody knows, we lost Ramona Fradon this week. She was a legendary comics artist for DC and other publishers, but primarily DC.
At the age of 94.
Not 97.
97?
97. She got up there. Yeah, she had a good long run.
That's awesome.
And it was great. She was. Do you know where she was born?
I do not.
America.
Nice.
She was born in Chicago, Chi-Town, and I have a love and affinity for Chi-Town creators and Chi-Town characters like Savage Dragon and people like that.
Sure.
That's why she worked on a strip called Brenda Star Reporter, which is famous in certain circles. It came out in the Chicago Tribune and it ran for like 60, 70 years. It was crazy. But no, her claim to fame and where I first knew her name is she co-created Metamorpho.
Yep.
In 1965 with Bob Haney and Rex Mason.
You wouldn't happen to have that first appearance,
I
would
do
you?
indeed. And not only that, but it is signed by Ramona Fradon.
That is awesome.
That is the craziest thing. I didn't get to meet her. I bought it signed already, but that would have been something else. But yeah.
For sure.
No, Brave and the Bold 57, 1965 was Metamorpho. Rex Mason, the Element Man, and he's a guy that he can transpose his body into any element there is. So it's all kinds of fun. And his character design is great. And he's going to be played in the he's going to be in the new
DCEU.
Superman movie coming out from James Gunn. And I can't think. He was in Barry. He plays the.
I don't know.
The rival crimes. I'll look that up later. But also Rex Mason, and then his dick father-in-law Simon Stagg, and his lovely daughter, who Rex is in love with. And it's a great comic. He's one of my favorite characters. And then she also worked on the Super Friends comics that were based on the TV show. And I'll tell you what, so guys, as a little aside, the Super Friends, the entire run from 1976 to 78, I believe, is collected in 2 hardcovers. Do not sleep on these comics. They are an absolute joy to read. And the TV show is where my beloved Wonder Twins premiered.
Yep.
So it's great. But anyway...
If as an example, also, I think we've talked about it. I put a message up on the socials with the upcoming Women's History Month books.
Oh my gosh! You know what's sad is you showed me those like one day before she died, and I was like, "That's Ramona Fradon. These look amazing." Like, yeah,
right.
And then she died. So like, that's too bad. But Ramona Fradon, you gave more than you took, and that's all anybody can ask.
Absolutely. So She worked up until the very end.
Oh yeah,
It was just a pure delight. So like I was saying, like those books are coming out like in this upcoming month. And I think another one of her famous covers most recently was a 1 in 25 for a recent Superman issue, if you're trying to track those down. But it was a really cool, like, maybe you grabbed that one, Shane. It was like the newsroom. It was like a newsroom scene that total, Ramona Fradon style. It was cool.
Oh yeah,
Like, Lois on the
absolutely,
cover, like that.
And she has such an iconic style. And also, on those covers, like there's like Natasha Irons is on one of the characters, so that means that she did these commissions recently.
Right.
This was a woman in her late 90s, and the art is amazing. Still,
It is. It's awesome.
So I had a wish for another 97 years, but I think Jesus had some commissions he needed her to work on, and
For sure.
called her home. So that's that. But everybody jump on those covers and look up Ramona Fradon.
Absolutely. It's good stuff.
Don't be afraid to. So the illness affected my ability to pun. So we're getting back. As you can see, I'm about at 80%. That was pretty good.
It was okay.
That was a B minus.
Minus.
Anyway, but yeah, the big week.
Yeah. So for those of you longtime listeners and, store attendees, this upcoming weekend is an anniversary of the shop opening, actually. So we open March 5th, open the doors on March 5th, 2022. And what we're going to try to do as a tradition, for every year that we're here is have a yearly anniversary party / customer appreciation sale and such. So
Bacchanalian revelry. There will be wine. There will be women. There will be none of those. Well, there'll probably be
no
gals,
wine,
yeah.
but probably some women.
Right.
So
I don't know. I'm bringing along my friend Josh. Okay.
there you go. So March 2nd, which is this upcoming Saturday, if you're listening to this, normal business hours, but we're going to have like a store-wide sale. So it's going to be, and if you pay attention to the socials, I'll be putting like the percentage of things and some examples of that. Some examples, I guess, to say out loud is going to be doing like 30% off all Funko. It's going to be, 40% off of all of the back issues.
40% off back issues.
There you go. It's going to be like 20% off of like the key books and the graded books.
That's a fifth off graded books.
Exactly. And then so on and so forth. There's going to be a bunch of different things. So just pay attention to the socials. We'll have some examples up there. There's going to be some doorbusters and things like that. We're going to have donuts in the morning, probably pizza in the afternoon, just party all day long and just have a lot of fun with the customers. And
pizza and sales. This is crazy. No, it is. It is fun. Last year was fun. Usually pretty. We got a pretty good turnout and the vibe's great. Everybody's just happy to be here.
And we usually, depending on weather and stuff like that, we have a grill on premises, and we've been known to cook hot dogs and do some grilling and stuff like that. So we'll see how the weather is. We might do that instead of pizza. We'll see how it goes.
We get the new co-owner out there who loves to grill.
Absolutely.
Show us all what for. Show us so then he doesn't have to criticize our grilling. Leaving the patio on too long. That's the kind of
there we go.
But that's exciting, and also I from my point of view, I think it's a celebration that the store is still here and still thriving after all the recent construction. There was 4 or 5 months of construction that really slowed down business, and now it is back on the ascendant.
Yeah,
and
it's going great.
2 years, and that's the first of what 1,000-year reign that we are.
It turns out that businesses don't do as well when you don't have access to them.
If you can't get to the shop, it's harder and harder to buy things inside the shop.
It's weird.
Causation, causality. I don't want to do the math, but it was crazy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you want to move on? Have you been reading anything? You been ready to move on to that? Or you have
no. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, again, this is a lean, mean one, guys. There's no central topic, but we didn't want to leave you all without something to listen to.
Sure.
We're here for you. Again, the game needs us. So it was a big week for comics, I'd say. And so I read Batman 144 and Wonder Woman 6.
Yep.
A week early.
Sure.
So I forgot. But Batman, Superman, World's Finest 24. This could be a stopping point for Mark Waid. This was such a beautiful bookend to this series and to the Kingdom Come series that he famously wrote with Alex Ross on art.
I'm sorry.
Go on.
To mention that this week was announced, just related to the Alex Ross, it reminded me. Jason Aaron's writing Scrooge McDuck. one shot for Marvel.
It's a one shot.
It's a one. Well,
Dang.
I'm sure their minds could be changed depending on how things
Right.
go and his schedule, schedule permitting. But there's a beautiful Alex Ross cover for
It
that
is.
book that they've
Oh,
released.
my
It's
gosh.
called Scrooge McDuck and the Infinity Dime. What I'm really hoping for is they tied into some multiversal
Crossover
thing.
You know what would be great?
Yeah.
If Howard shows up.
That'd be sweet.
I mean, you'd have to really walk a fine line to make it not dumb, but that could also be brilliant.
It'd be sweet for sure.
Yeah, Scrooge McDuck, my favorite Disney character, and I love that. I was surprised when you showed me that because it's a Marvel. Like as far as I know, Fantagraphics held the license for that, so it's exciting though. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Jason Aaron,
Right.
man. Between that and TMNT, he's really indulging what I assume are his childhood passions, which is great. But no,
Everybody's. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I can't wait for that. But Batman Superman World's Finest 24. Now he is still on the book. I did check because the ending was so satisfying. I checked. I was like, is he because he left Shazam? But no, it's great and it serves as a prequel of sorts and a sequel of sorts to Kingdom Come, which is nothing I would have wanted or asked for. But again, in the hands of Mark Waid, he's Mark effing Wade, man. He can do no wrong. And it was a great issue. Batman Superman World's Finest. Now, and again, so that I will say that the 25 almost certainly is going to be a good jumping on point because everything ended, every storyline that he had going pretty much ended satisfyingly with this issue.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then Dan Mora is doing another one. So for issue 25, it actually hit FOC, I think, already today. Doing one of those famous celebrity covers, and William Shatner is going to be on 25.
Shatner, I saw it, yeah.
So it's like him in like a Enterprise-looking space, but obviously the DC characters and stuff, but it's Shatner front and center.
I love those. I love this McCartney one, but I love the Nick Cage one, which didn't seem to...
Yeah, no, I mean, they're great. I like those covers. I'm just excited anyway that we've got 25 more issues of Batman Superman from, Mark Waid that, a couple of years ago we didn't have.
That's true. And World's Finest, which it's a Silver Age book that he resurrected, and Mark Waid is probably more familiar with the Silver Age, DC Silver Age, than any human alive, and he's writing it with all the passion that requires, and it shows. It's a great book.
It's just a lot of fun. It's like a callback to those old, like, I forget which number it was, but it cracked me up. The one where it shows Dick and Barbara out to eat, and like some villains are crashing through the windows, and it's just like the check, please.
Yeah,
like it's like
perfect.
silly, like Silver Age, like
and the
tons of fun.
actually the first arc featured Metamorpho heavily.
Yep.
And then
Maybe they'll be drawing inspiration for this movie. I mean, I'm sure Gunn seems like he, reads and he pulls it together. And having Mark Waid on your side wouldn't hurt the writing.
I know he had to have consulted Waid. I know. He wrote Chip Zdarsky a personal this years ago after Chip's Howard the Duck run ended. Wrote him a letter just saying how great he thought the comics were. That's before he was doing Guardians. He had no dog in that fight. He was just a fan, which is very cool. Batman 144. You read it?
Absolutely.
That was that the end of the Joker War?
That was the end of Joker War. Yes.
And as we talked about, like that was a much more satisfying ending than I thought.
So it started off like it was, sleight of hand. Obviously, like the first issue, I think we were both kind of. Like,
it was a regular issue, and I'm not used to reading a regular issue from Chip Zdarsky,
right?
About Batman. It's like, oh, that's a normal. Anybody could have written that.
The other two issues made it seem like it was purposeful. Like I'm gonna make them think that Chip's run out of steam, and then
the
kaboom.
Old bait and switch.
Yeah. So, for those of you that you haven't read it, sales have done very well. Obviously, I think this is the first Batman book, at least in a little bit, that's done some second printing action.
Nice.
So people are on board.
Well, that caveat to that is like they print more of Batman than any.
Right.
So
exactly.
like if that's going to a second print, it is huge. Not to say that they don't normally sell huge.
Yes. I mean, it was just even a step up.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then, so the weekly portion, so now that being the third issue of the Joker, the year one, is, because I think we said Joker War, that was our mistake. The Joker year one run from Chip Zdarsky, that is now concluded, and we're back to the normally
regular season play.
Yeah, regular season
145.
Play. So that looks like if you haven't been on Batman, 145 is going to be the start of a new arc and a good place to jump on. I will sorely miss the Sorrentino,
oh boy,
little touch of pages in between, but we've got Jorge Jimenez back.
Which it's probably fine because that Sorrentino's Joker haunts me in my dreams.
It was terrifying.
Got to check in the closet under the bed to make sure Sorrentino's Joker isn't there before I go to sleep.
Can I pop in here real quick?
I wish you would.
Okay, so to be honest, this week I been playing catch up a little bit because of, original topic, which obviously we'll do on Friday. So I'm not going to spoil it, but I did a lot of catch up reading with that. So I don't have a whole lot on top of to contribute this week. But what I did do is I went through, on the DC app, they've got the online only books where they release them early and they'll probably be collected at some point. But Mark Russell had done some Batman books for, it's called Batman Gotham Knights. And I just, one that tickled me. This is a digital first book, Batman Gotham Knights number 7, I believe. It's called Unplanned Obsolescence. It is the one, you know what I'm talking about. I sent you the panel earlier with Killer Moth.
Yeah.
And it has that vibe. I feel like Mark maybe watched the Gray Ghost episode or something of the
animated
series, which if you haven't watched that, it's basically like, Bruce grew up listening to the radio show for Gray Ghost and it was kind of one of his heroes.
Such a great episode.
And there's like that respect there, but he's actually a hero, so that kind of goes a different way.
Right.
But this one is centered around Killer Moth and how, basically he kind of respects him as a villain. And it shows Batman going into a warehouse and you see like this night watchman, you see that he shot the killer Moth, and he's like, and Batman's kind of like, well, that's weird. He's eluded me, and I have the utmost respect for him for years. And there's one panel that I sent you in particular, where Batman's like, I'm sure he didn't imagine, going out like this. He's like, you mean, being shot by blah blah blah? He's like, no, being shot by a night gunsman. But anyway, long story short, Batman makes reference to how Killer Moth's costume is awesome, and that got me like, it is awesome.
And in the context, it was absolutely fitting. Like,
yes.
You could see again to get to write Batman so well, or that Batman making not a joke, but saying something like with levity like that.
Yes.
And it fitting perfectly. Like, it's such a great comic. And also, I'm quite certain Mark Russell chose Killer Moth. That's such a villain that he'd be drawn to.
And it's like, so yeah, Batman's like, I can't imagine that's the way he wanted to go. And then the night watchman guy goes, wearing the costume? He's like, no, shot dead by a night watchman. The costume's awesome. So it was just, that was a lot of fun. So I was reading those because I'm getting pumped. Because I think I'm ready to, it's a little chiming in. I'm getting ready to order the
Dark Age
next week for a for the DC final order cutoff. And I'm gonna say this now. It's not concrete, but I am working something. I guess I'll just reveal it now. I've been talking with Mark, and we're trying to get him here on Free Comic Book Day.
Boy, oh boy.
So if Mark Russell, trying to get him here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, to the shop for May 4th this year, which would be Free Comic Book Day, he has Dark Age coming out. So put that on your pull, pretty please. And then also immediately following his appearance here would be Blood Hunters, which is he's writing the Hawkeye, Brady McCentric,
the Marvel
tie-in for the Marvel event for Blood Hunt.
Yep.
So he's got a lot of stuff going on, even for the big two.
And Traveling to Mars.
Yep, and Traveling to Mars. That's coming to an end as far as on the singles this month, but the trade paperback comes out. Now it's been pushed because originally it was supposed to be slated for release in March. Now the final issue's in March, and that trade comes out the end of May.
God, that's in the last issue. So any of you who are at home bragging to your loved ones that I've not cried like a bitch in weeks.
Exactly.
Mark Russell's here with we'll be showing up with the last issue of Traveling to Mars to decimate you.
Sure.
No, that's great.
So stay tuned to the socials and, obviously to the podcast and stuff. We'll have more information. Once I have everything officially locked in, we'll let you know. But tentatively, that's our plan for Free Comic Book Day, just to throw that out there.
I do like the idea that Night Watchman or cop that he said that to about Killer Moth spent weeks trying to get the other guys on the force to believe him that like Batman said that, like, no,
right, like he wouldn't say that costume is awesome. But I want to say, if you actually do have the DC app, those books are absolutely worth reading. It was an absolute blast. I don't want to spoil the ending because it is honestly one of the sweetest endings I've ever seen, because you just got to read it. It's like a self-contained story, and it's a relief to see that people can still write those.
It's a Mark Russell book.
Yeah.
But
Very
with Batman. We should have to sell it. All right.
Yep.
Come on. You guys should be. Also, you know what? Before we go further, I'd be remiss if we didn't mention this. News today, they announced that the DCEU, the new DCEU proper with James Gunn and Peter Safran, they're going to develop a animated movie based on Jurassic League. by Daniel Warren Johnson and Juan Gideon, and that is great news. That is it's.
Their animated stuff is fantastic anyway.
Yeah, and I'm guessing it's gonna be in a different style, but also like Jurassic League, where it reimagines the our titular heroes as dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. Awesome.
And if that, I will say no more, because if you're not already on, then that I can't convince you more than that. So well, I think it's his mom. Is she okay?
She's fine.
Okay. Is she worried about me?
She is always.
My
I
gosh.
told her you were sick, and she was maybe make sure to
Good.
follow up.
Oh, she's a sweetheart. Move forward. Green Lantern War Journal number 6. This continued by Philip Kennedy Johnson. This continues to be just an absolute delight every month, and what a great. And this is the one where it's by Philip Kennedy Johnson, who just recently finished a run on Action Comics. And if anybody read his Warworld saga, I think there's a time that it's connecting. Well, it is connecting. I don't know how much it's going to, but I would love that, and I would love, like we said last week, if Philip Kennedy Johnson starts handling a more cosmic aspect of DC.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a lot of it's just terrestrial at this point, and it would be great if we had some extraterrestrial shenanigans by.
He was writing Aliens too, and that was very good. So
he's got the bug.
He can do it.
Yeah. Also this week, speaking of just an absolute, just a blast, Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. I think this is there's one more issue, right? This is issue 5.
No, there's 2 more at least.
Oh,
maybe 3.
yeah.
But yeah, it's getting towards the tail end. It's ramping up for sure.
Yeah. And I love these out of I love DZ continuity, but the ones that are out of continuity, because obviously Godzilla and Kong aren't. Yeah. But like Kong and Grodd talking, I mean, like just stuff like that. I mean, this is what dreams are made of. It's just an absolute blast. And they can use kind of whatever character they want, and they don't have to. You're not beholden to what they're doing in their books or whatnot. So yeah, you got Superman, Shazam, and Hawkgirl all together.
Like in the vein of that Silent Night Christmas time story where it's like just do what you want, but you could tell there was a story there. And
yeah. Oh man, there's more of a story here than I definitely thought, because they didn't have to do a story.
Right.
That was gonna sell no matter what.
Yeah. It's cool though.
Sorry, everybody. I'm clawing my way from death's door, just to do this.
Just quit talking about it.
Yeah, it was just a cold. Really milked that.
Cold, man. Come on. Stop milking it.
Superman 11 by Josh Williamson.
Yep.
Continues to be a nice little Superman book each month. Superman's being well served right now between that and Action Comics.
I feel like it's ramped up and it's gotten better.
Yes, and very much so.
Yeah.
And then I had to get the 1-25 Pablo Villalobos cover. If you guys want to see the most beautiful cover of the month, look up the Superman 11 1-25. It's great.
Fantastic.
Yeah. The aforementioned Wonder Woman 6. Again, this is we talked about this. It was.
I read it again. I had to.
Did you?
Yeah.
I went. So I forgot that I did not read the backup story.
Yeah.
And again, just an absolute delight after this epic tale of gods and monsters, and then this delightful little short story about Bruce, about Damian and John having to get their little sister to bed, Trinity. Right. She just won't go to bed. Oh, kids, it was so great. But no, I won't speak anymore on Wonder Woman 6. It was the best. It was the best issue of the week. It's my issue of the week by far. The art is, again, Daniel Sampere is. I've never seen art this good, this consistent.
Yeah.
And the thing, like, if you want to see Gigantic coming up out of the ground of underneath the National Monument, and then throw the National Monument at Wonder Woman, and then Wonder Woman throw it back at her.
Yeah.
Again, like Jurassic Park is dinosaurs. I don't know what I got to tell you guys. I don't know what else you need. But,
Right. DC's doing the work.
Oh my gosh, they're doing the work. And Tom King's got his haters, but this right here should get them all back. Personally, keep it rocking. Titans number 8, Tom Taylor. Now that we're back on Terra Firma, we're not doing Beast World. It's good again.
Yeah.
So a great return to form, and I'm delighted. And speaking of Tom Taylor, the last DC book I read this week. Did you get to read Nightwing 111?
I haven't, but I was going to bring Nightwing up because this next arc is going to be his final arc on the book.
Yeah, and I was sad to hear that.
Yeah. I don't know which direction they're going after that. They haven't announced anything past it, but I mean...
I would not want to be the guy that takes over for Taylor and Redondo.
Yeah.
On what has been an all-time Nightwing run.
Absolutely. So if you haven't been reading it, absolutely, get the trades, whatever else. It has been an all-star run, but then... You're also, if you haven't but you're interested, we're approaching a wonderful time for a jumping on point as well. Which
Sure.
is what's the great thing about comics is if you don't know where to start, just wait a week or two.
Absolutely. It's a swift moving stream. Might as well just cannonball right in.
Yep.
Yeah, but this run, this Nightwing has been, I mean, I'd put it up there. I'd put it up there next to the Dixon run.
Nice.
That's how good it is. And I personally love the Tom King run where Grayson, where he was in Spiral.
Super Spy, yeah.
Yes,
That's awesome.
But this has got to be up there. But yeah, I think we can jump the line over to Marvel.
Sure.
Might as well just get the goods out, or should I say get the gods out? Because Gods number 5 came out. Oh, now we're up to about 85% now. I'm feeling healthier and healthier. Gods number 5 by legendary creator
Jonathan Hickman. That's where I spent my time this week, to be honest. It was catching up. I was behind on Gods. So.
Well, yeah, and a Jonathan Hickman book, you got to take your time, do it right.
As we know from, I was reading all of the Avengers and finishing all that up and everything like that.
Right,
and then I was working my way
you went
forward.
hard.
So Gods had fallen behind as far as being weekly.
Mm-hmm.
So I had read 1, obviously, because I couldn't wait, and then 2, and then I had, I'd fallen behind. So now 3, 4, and 5 is what I had done this week.
Awesome.
So
how are they when you read them all together?
better.
I bet they are, because I am so trying to remember everything that he did in the last issue when I'm reading these.
Hickman is very much that way for me. I could say that's the only thing it's not a problem maybe for other people, but as a mere mortal, I enjoy Hickman more when I'm able to do it in a back-to-back format.
Yeah.
I'm not saying wait for trades. I'm saying if you do singles, I don't want to say always, depending on time. Generally, I will read where I'm at to from where they're at and start over. Like when 4 comes out, I'll read, 3 and 4 again, or possibly further back. Like, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like, I don't know how anybody read East of West Monthly. I have no idea how that was possible.
I like I said, I think I did 12 monthly, and then I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna wait.
Because it is epic and it's wonderful and it's a beautiful story. But there is a lot of, especially when he's in world building mode.
Yeah,
and then
which he is with Gods.
Yes, and you have you don't just have comic book pages. You'll have splash pages with the characters and their relationships to each other, or a map, or an artifact. There's always things where
a long Hickman comic run is like a Jean-Louis Bourges novel. I mean, it is these Byzantine tracks and tunnels, but every bit of it is an absolute delight. And again, when I say Gods is world building, Marvel's world has already been built, guys.
Yeah,
that is the chutzpah that Hickman has. Is I'm going to give them a new, reorganize the pantheon of gods in the Marvel universe. That's what he's doing right now, and it's amazing. I love that Hickman, and he's so unassuming, but he's not afraid to just elbow in here and be like, this is how Marvel Comics is going to look going forward.
Right.
And he's done that time and again with Avengers, with the Ultimate Universe. All right, it's done now. And he's like, all right, I've decided it's started again.
Right.
He does work, but again, it's so rewarding, just spending time on a Hickman book. If you have an omnibus or a collected edition, having it put some thought into it and it's so rewarding. Few comics are.
And related to that, I guess, real quick, I mean, I know we're still talking Marvel, but they just not just announced, we knew the Ultimates was coming out, but the team lineup was announced this week, along with as far as who's on the actual.
Who is on the?
It is Thor, Tony, Lady Sif.
Ooh.
And then, goodness gracious, I have to think about the other ones. But there was it's really cool. So basically, the premise of this book, Ultimates, it's written by, it's going to be written by Dennis Camp, which I'm actually next in my queue is 20th Century Man, which is an Image book that he wrote last year.
A terrific book.
Yep, I haven't had a chance to read it yet, so I'm going to go into that, just kind of be more familiar. Yeah, so he's writing Ultimates, and basically the premise of it is, if you read Ultimate Invasion and then Ultimate Universe, there was that, we had already talked about it, the Ocean's 11 type heist as far as getting the artifacts out. Mm-hmm. The purpose of this Ultimates team is basically they're righting all of the wrongs, so they're against the Makers Council that he's created, but they're trying to go through and create all of these heroes. So the premise of this book is just expanding on the ones they've already gotten to, which are, obviously Spider-Man, Black Panther. We'll see for the forthcoming X-Men, but it sounds like a great time. And
a lot of unanswered questions, and it sounds like this is what this is going to answer. Again, Hickman has this all planned out, as we've heard. I mean, this is all of a plan, and we're living in his world.
But I'm saying we had quite a few polls already in anticipation of it, sight unseen. But now, for those of you that are listening, you can actually get on there, and all of the covers are posted, and and you can look at anything as far as like if you want to select those covers and put them under your poll and things like that. One thing I will say is it was May. Now it looks like it was pushed to the very first week of June. So it's just like a week.
Not bad.
But it's not bad. It's not like it's that far out. But it's all coming together.
Yeah, I don't want to be the one to go to Mr. Hickman's office, hat in hand, mumble that I can't make the deadline, and that cold dead stare. Yeah.
Sorry, I know that was a detour, but
no, I think it's perfect. That's great because I still hold my theory is that God's will end up tying in with this what he's doing with the Ultimate stuff.
It has to for the level that he's talking about.
All of a piece, everything. All of it, and we won't see it for years. We won't see it for years. But speaking of that though, it was Ultimate Spider-Man 2. Mm-hmm. And if anything, it was better than Ultimate Spider-Man 1. It is so good. It is. Hickman's operating at a level that few can keep up with, let alone do. Yeah. And it was great, heartfelt, and last panel that pays everything off, but also pays off 50 years of Spider-Man history. It's he does what Mark Russell will do, like with Space Age, where he can celebrate a character while telling a completely new, his own story, beholden to nothing. And that's what Ultimate Spider-Man 2 does.
You got to hear Peter speak like Peter, two villains. You get to see Peter's, you said you saw his heart. I mean, it is...
I like that Peter in his mid-30s for the first time is still out there just petulantly
throwing insults.
Zingers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And Hickman's Peter's zingers are great.
They are.
Because Hickman is fun.
Yeah.
And then let's see. I don't want to be negative. Daredevil 6 came out, and as I told Craig, I've read it, and I can tell you, everybody at home, I am convinced 100% it is a comic.
It is a comic.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's just not the heights of Chip Zdarsky or indeed Sewell, Diggle, Wade.
But also we have to see because
we will see. It's issue 6. I hold Daredevil to such a high standard because he's my favorite Marvel character and because he's had such great runs.
It's really hard to kick against that.
25 years, yeah.
Recently, we have been trained to where, a book has this amount of time to tell a story as compared to playing a long game. And they might, I remember when there was a long game, like for example, the most recent example is Avengers Inc. Like Ewing's on that book. Yeah. He's already proven himself that he can do runs.
How Ewing, and he didn't get a shot.
Right. And so, readership as far as saying, oh, it's been this many books. They're not going to do that to Daredevil, but, as far as canceling it, they took a chance on Daredevil. But, give it some time. Maybe it's going to ramp up.
But he's going upstream because, like for instance, like when Chip came on Batman, immediately a banger.
Yes.
Immediately, like first arc, great. Same with same with War Journal, which just ended. Same with Tom Taylor's Nightwing. And obviously with Wonder Woman. So I think I'm being unfair, but I'm gonna stick. I mean, I haven't missed a Daredevil issue since '98. I'm not gonna start now. So
sure,
and he could be great. And if you're enjoying it at home, that's all to the good. It's not a bad run. It's just to me not particularly good. So
well, and again, we were talking about the juxtaposition to Zdarsky's run. It's kind of hard.
Yeah,
to be honest,
I would not want to follow Chip, and you're not just following Chip Zdarsky on Daredevil. You're following like decades of incredible storytelling.
Yeah,
that everybody knows. Everybody knows that Daredevil is a known quantity. Like if you get on this book, you're held to these high standards because you're more or less left alone to do your own story. Daredevil doesn't have to do much with the larger DC or larger Marvel continuity. So yeah, but yeah, we'll stick with it. Did you read any other Marvel comics this month?
I did not.
I lament that I think the Incredible Hulk is being written by Philip Kennedy Johnson. I really need to get on that. because I'm sure it's great.
I'm behind, but I've heard that it's still fantastic, and
Yeah, he's
polls are going up, so more people are thinking
doing
it's
great,
fantastic.
great stuff. Well, let's slide over to Image because Cobra Commander 2 came out.
Yep.
Again, look, I mean, we're just gonna say what we always say. Did you get to the Cobra Commander 2 yet? It's just more of that same giddy fun.
Yeah.
And again, Cobra Commander can be childish, and I love it. And like Craig and I talk, when we read it, we do the voices in our head and or out loud. Like you can't, don't read Cobra Commander and not do the voices.
Yep.
It's a blast. Holy Roller #4, the book by Andy Samberg and Rick Remender, where a guy returns to his hometown, a Midwest town, and he confronts anti-Semitism and other forms of racism by becoming a vigilante bowler crime fighter. And that is it is as much fun as it sounds like.
Yeah.
And this one introduces so he finally has his outfit now, and now he has trick bowling balls, which is so great.
It's awesome.
So great. He's got his buddy is his armorer, and he's like I need more trick balls, and it's great. So like fighting a bunch of like neo-Nazis with trick bowling balls, or just throwing one at their face. And it's that Sandberg humor which is coming through, and also like Rick Remender, just that rad rock and roll style that Remender has. I hope to the
It's
good
like an
Lord.
action comic book and Big Lebowski.
Yeah,
and it's like
and
a
it's so
cool
oh my gosh,
conglomeration.
it's so and it gets it gets like that. It's set in an Ohio town, and it gets the vibe really right. And I'm going to write Pope Francis back and have him pray a rosary that we get one of those huge oversized Remender hardcovers for this book.
That'd be sweet.
That would be sweet. Although I don't think it's going to go long enough to justify it, but we'll see. Spawn 350 was this week, as we've spoken on. I'm not reading Spawn 350, gang, but I love that it reached
in my
that.
queue. I will.
I love it reached that zenith. That is such a great thing. It's a great thing for comics. Spawn, The Todd Father. It's a great thing for comics and a great milestone. Very few books reach 350, especially creator owns or things out of the big two.
Never
I
out
can't
of
imagine
production. It's
anything.
impressive.
I can't imagine anything starting now at DC or Marvel that is
Will
going to
start
ever go to
now and do
350.
that.
Yeah. But speaking of which, like, don't sleep on Savage Dragon 268.
Yep.
And I've read the first 100 or so issues of Savage Dragon. Love them. I just stopped. I'm resolved. I wrote it down. I'm going to catch up with Savage Dragon because those are great comics.
One fun thing about this issue I did, because I paged through this one. They put Steamboat Willie in it, which is hilarious to me.
Because
because now he's in public domain.
is-
So randomly in Savage Dragon, there's Steamboat Willie.
And I'm not usually for all that stuff like the Winnie the Pooh blood honey or whatever.
Right.
But Eric Larson, Savage Dragon, do whatever you want, man. That would fit perfectly.
It was fun.
And again, all written and drawn, every issue by Eric Larson. That is quite an achievement. What a life's work that is.
Yeah.
And then I'll finish up with on Image with The Six Fingers came out. The companion piece to the other Ram book. What was that other Ram book called?
The One Hand.
The One Hand, where and they're separate books, but they're companions, and they're telling an overarching story where they're both going to connect. Like the One Hand is the futuristic detective who has to solve this murder, the serial killer, and then The Six Fingers is about the serial killer. But they're I don't know. I think they're both going to go 5 or 6 issues before they connect, and it's great. Ram V, he has a lifetime pass for me. I've just been reading his Justice League Dark, his Rebirth stuff lately, and that guy didn't show promise. He showed follow through from the very beginning. He's one of my favorite working writers, and the guy currently doing Detective.
Absolutely. Can I go back to last week and ask you if you actually did you get a chance to read the If You Find This I'm Already Dead, that Kent book?
No,
You haven't?
no. I was barely conscious.
Okay.
When I woke up, I was trying to avoid the light. It was really touch and go.
Okay. I was just curious. I don't know because I wanted to see.
There were well wishers outside my house. There was a mountain of mail to go through. It was. I feel bad too because it's Matt Kent.
It's all right. It'll
What
be
am I
there.
doing? I think. Oh no, we have 2 more books that I was really excited about this week. One was from Dynamite. It was the second book in Garth Ennis's James Bond run, and again, that's following up
Philip Kennedy Johnson.
Philip Kennedy Johnson's amazing James Bond run for Dynamite. Just when you think I'm a huge Bond fan, I love the movies. I like the books. The books are great. They're short and they're kind of breezy, so they're really great things to adapt because you can kind of go places with them. But Philip Kennedy Johnson definitely told his own story, and again, for a character that's been around for 60 years and had all these stories told, Philip Kennedy Johnson found a way in, and it looks like Garth Ennis is definitely finding his own way in. First issue of Garth Ennis's James Bond 007, you definitely know that the creative team changed, and if you didn't know who's writing it and you read it, you'd say that's probably Garth Ennis.
Right, that's cool.
That's it. Absolutely, it was so good, and I'm hoping because he can do violence, he can do military, which is where his heart's at. He loves writing about military movements and techniques and armies. But I think he can also write intrigue. And,
that's cool.
Yeah, and now he's writing for King and Country. So I don't know if Garth Ennis really celebrates the crown, but I don't know. But Garth Ennis, again, people that know me know I don't think The Boys is particularly good. But I think pretty much everything. I love 90%. Well,
like you said, the way you described it, pretty much is like it's Garth Ennis's Mark Millar's impression. Kind of, as far as how you,
and Garth. Well, The Boys is a book that it doesn't just hate its own characters; it hates you for reading it. It makes fun of you,
it's just mean.
It is like why do this? But that is not to say The Boys TV show is terrific
because they softened it a little bit.
They took what I think Garth Ennis wanted to do, but just took away all the baggage. They took the whole postmodern superhero thing and did it beautifully. Yeah. Because he's attacking the fascist tendencies of some superheroes perceived and consumerism and media perception media, how that does it. But he was doing it in a mean way. The show does it in this amazing way. I wish that's the thing is The Boys clearly had writers, and I really wish that they would have done that with the Rings of Power, put writers on it. But
even the spinoff, what is it? The whatever.
Gen V.
Yeah. It's showing the school filtration side of things into the giant corporation. Oh. That's even fantastic. The show.
I'm all about that. So I don't need to make my social bona fides more well known. That's not what people tune in for.
All right.
I'm going to end it just like I end the alphabet with Z. Folks, Sean Gordon Murphy taking a break from Batman White Knight with one of my all-time favorite characters in any medium. Zorro, Man of the Dead #2 came out. Mm-hmm. He is writing and drawing it just like he did with White Knight. And that's things with Sean Gordon Murphy at this point, he can write his own ticket. And this is what he wanted to do. Because Zorro, again, it's a public domain character, so this is coming out from American mythology, which, what a great name for a publisher.
That's cool.
And what is Zorro if not American mythology? And I know what you're saying is not he Hispanic? Yeah, but there's no it's like Taco Bell. It's Mexican food. Come on. But Diego de Oliveira, who was he's been around since 1919. He came out. Johnston McCulley created him for Pulp Magazine, American guy for American Magazine. I'm guessing he had never fought the Spanish Dons in his life. I think he was just writing adventure stories for boys.
Sure.
Not that he's not a great Hispanic hero. But Zorro, Man of the Dead, the premise is that it is modern times, and this kid who he's in his 20s, but he's from the lineage of the original Zorro, but his sister and most of his family doesn't think that that's true. It's still, those are just stories. His father is killed, and he has a mental break, this kid. But his whole life he's been pretending to be Zorro, so he knows how to fight. He knows how to blah blah blah. So and then he has the outfit. And his dad was killed by the Mexican cartels.
Sure.
So it's Zorro, this guy who thinks he's Zorro, who might actually be Zorro, going and fighting the Mexican cartel with a sword
that is
and
awesome.
A horse, and it is, and they're fighting. They have the guns. And his sister is trying to keep him alive, but every time that Zorro goes into the field, he wins.
Right.
He's like, he can fight. Nobody, like, he doesn't get shot because nobody like expects a guy and a horse and a sword to come in. So
Right.
like he has the and he's saying the valiant Zorro things and he's carving Z's on these cartel members, and it's so awesome. And this issue was so great because again with Sean Gordon Murphy, it's a full meal. Like his art's amazing, but he's gonna write a lot because he has a story to tell. But at the end, they have to find Zorro and like some of the survivors that he's found from this place. They have to go find shelter, and they go to this monastery, and his sister's like, no one's gonna let a crazy person in, like, and then they open the door and everybody's like, oh, all these people that are taking shelter there too are like, Zorro,
Right.
Oh my gosh,
That's awesome.
and it is, and it ends like that, and it's just this beautiful thing, and that's only issue 2. I can't wait to see where this goes, but no, Zorro is an absolute delight. Oh, also this issue had Zorro on a motorcycle, which scratched off.
It's a modern horse, right?
Absolutely, scratched off something on my bucket list. I didn't.
That made me think about something. I was going to ask you a question real quick.
Shoot.
So how do you feel about? So obviously, I think everybody got like way in deep with Murphy drawing only Tokyo Ghost, right?
Yeah.
Remender on actually writing it. How do you? I'm always so torn and conflicted because I feel like his output slows down because now he's kind of writing and drawing, so you don't see as much, like possibly, like I don't see as much Murphy art because,
right.
He's pulling double duty. Like, how do you feel about that? Like Daniel Warren Johnson, right? I think he's going to continue writing Transformers, but we're going to get different art. So now I'm actually going to find out. I'm like, hopefully the writing, hopefully somebody else drawing it, the writing will still come through as far as that feel, or I don't know how he writes, I guess. With him, I'm assuming he draws badass pictures and puts words on it because that's how I look at it.
Like Joelle Jones's process is she kind of just does it all at the same time. There's an outline, but then she when she starts an issue, she's just kind of like going on instinct, which is good. But I think Sean Gordon Murphy probably writes full scripts. But again, some people draw quicker, some people write quicker than others. I think Daniel Warren Johnson probably is a quicker. Can meet his page quota faster than Sean Gordon Murphy. I don't know that for sure, but I would always rather get something. I'd rather get the best work than more work.
And I agree. It just makes me sad sometimes.
That's how I feel when when somebody like Chip, at one point he was writing 13 books a month, and it's like I would rather you write 6 great ones. Not that they weren't great, but even he said he was spread too thin. I would never want these people to be spread too thin. But no, I lament that we're not getting more Sean Gordon Murphy work, but he's always done one at a time because the line work is so fine. It has to take so long to do.
Because he didn't even do this last White Knight, the Murphy verse.
No, that's why it was bad. But and also
Generation Joker.
It was He also he's always done one at a time too because it takes so much time. Like White Knight was his whole thing for years, and I do hope that he comes back to that because he did set up for more. But and also it's crazy that the guy writing Batman would pivot to Zorro of all things. Like what a beautiful of course the original Batman.
That's a really cool premise. I didn't know it took place like modern times.
Well, neither did I. Awesome. I just picked it up sight unseen because it was Zorro. And it was Sean Gordon Murphy. And this one introduces his pet fox, Bandito. Everything about this book is amazing.
That's sweet.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've ever read The Scarlet Pimpernel by Baron Orczy, but that's what Zorro pretty much comes from. But again, it's not. I mean, even that's to say like Robin Hood. It's not a super. These premises are universal. It's just how it's told. Because how many iterations has Zorro had? Zorro benefited too. I'm going to go on a little Zorro discursive because I love this character. He came out in 1919, and he was popular, but it was Douglas Fairbanks, one of the biggest star in the world, made a movie out of it in like 1920, 1921. This silent film, great adventure story, huge hit. And then you get pulp novels, you get comic books, and then he kind of waned. And then if anybody's never seen the Tyrone Power 1940 Mask of Zorro film, it's absolutely amazing. Put him back in the stratosphere. And again, I still think my favorite Zorro is the 97 movie.
Antonio Banderas.
It's an absolute triumph. Martin Campbell directed that. He was coming off of GoldenEye.
That's awesome.
And the music.
Whoa, that wasn't even on purpose. You just talked about Bond, and now you're talking about Zorro.
I think we're back up to 100%, guys.
There we go.
So yeah, those are the books that I read this week, and hopefully somebody found something in there that they would like to hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see we are under the gun. So
We are. We got to cut it short
We got to
this
cut it
week.
short. I think that was a maximum effort that we gave, guys.
Absolutely. But last little plug, this upcoming weekend, Saturday, March 2nd, we're going to have our giant customer appreciation / anniversary sale. Stay tuned to the social media, basically Facebook, Instagram. It's going
to be a blast.
It's going to be a blast. We're going to have sales. We hope to see y'all. And until next week, see you later.
See ya.